Well, Alex, the last few weeks, months even, there's been a bit of speculation about your career at Sydney FC. You've now made a decision. Just tell us what that decision is.
Like you said, the last couple months I've been thinking long and hard about next season, and I came after speaking to a lot of former players and Stevie, my family, of course. We're all together. I think all those things came to the decision that that I felt it was best that it's time for me to retire, which is definitely a hard decision to make. But I feel with looking at everything and from all different angles, and I feel like it's the right decision.
Why specifically have you made the decision?
I was close. At this point last year when the Asian Champions League started and everything that took out of me, I was pretty close to retiring at the end of last season. But with Arnie leaving onto the national team and Stevie and Uffy coming in as coaches, I've played with those guys in the past and knew what they were going to bring to as coaches, and I wanted to be a part of that, and a part of making sure that everything we've built from a player's point of view and a squad point of view didn't fall away. I think a lot of people thought that was going to happen, and a lot of people were tipping that would happen. That just because Arnie left and all the changes, players leaving, Bobo, Adrian, new stadiums this year, that the wheels were going to fall off. But I knew the players deserved a lot more credit for everything they did, and I wanted to stay around to make sure that continued to be the way. And to this point, we're second in the league, and had it not been for the incredible year that Perth's had, we probably could have taken the minor premiership out again. But again, we've continued to perform as a squad in a really good way, and I'm glad I was able to stay around and be a part of that. I've over the last few months definitely been feeling, physically that there's things which happen to an older player. You just can't do anymore, and your head's working a lot quicker than what your feet are, and those things again told me that it was time to hang them up.
Can I just check? You got the star in and each one? Yeah.
No. Oh yes I do. Yes I do.
Yeah, stars in.
Yeah.
Has anyone tried to dissuade you from retiring?
No, because of the fact that it's been a long process for me. Like I said, I was thinking about it a lot at this point last year. So basically the last 12 months I've been thinking long and hard about it. The boys crack jokes all the time with me about staying another year, and Stevie mentioned when I spoke to the boys about it that he thought I could possibly go on another year. But I think everyone understands the decision that it's not just physically, I think as well mentally, having played for this long, there's so much that goes into preparing yourself for a season, mentally as well, and I just felt that in every way, physically and mentally, I wasn't going to be able to do that for another year, and I didn't think that it'd be right on myself and on the team and on my family to push on if I wasn't able to do that.
How does it feel now that you've made the decision? Is it a weight off?
Yeah, it felt when I told Steve, he was the first one I told at the club, and I remember going out to train that day and just felt a huge sort of relief and weight off my shoulders, just because I'd made it official. Up until then it was still a little bit touch and go in making the decision, but having finally committed to it and knowing that there's no turning back from there, I felt at peace with it. I felt comfortable with it, and I know that I've made the right decision, even though it is a hard one. I think having played football since I was 3-4 years old, and having played professionally since I was 17, 18 till now 35. To have to walk away is definitely sad, but it sort of leaves me excited with the rest of my life and moving forward onto the next chapter, and being able to not miss those things that you miss as a footballer, and because of all our time away, and being able to spend a lot more time now with the family, and that's something that I'm really excited about.
How do you think you'll look back on your career?
I look back now, and I think whenever I look back at my career, it'll be just with, I guess, a huge amount of pride at the fact that I was able to play professionally for this long, more than anything. I think as a kid, it's a dream that every kid has, to be able to play professionally and hopefully represent your country as well. And to be able to have done that, played in several different countries with so many good people, good players, and to have played most of my career at a club like Sydney FC that has become a family to me, is nothing I could ever have predicted or expected as a young kid. So for me, I'm humbled with every experience that I've had as a footballer. I've enjoyed every moment. The highs, the lows, they come with what it is to be a professional, what it is to be a footballer. There's nothing I would change, nothing that I look back at and wish I'd done differently, because it's all led me to take the path that I took, and it's one that I've enjoyed. So that's how I look back.
What are the highs?
There's been obviously a few highs. I think starting out as a kid, making your debut, which back then for me was from Marconi, which was a club that was a couple hundred metres down the road from where I grew up, and a club that I always wanted to play for as a young kid. To step out at Marconi Stadium as a first grader was a huge buzz for me, and scoring my first goal for them as well was something that I'll never forget. But more recently, I think winning the double 16-17 season with Sydney has to be up there as one of the highlights of my career as a whole. I think that group of players that we had, that year that we had, the history we made was incredible, and to have it end with a championship in the fashion that it did was for me the highest point of my career. I think if you look back as well in there, representing Australia at the Olympics and representing the Socceroos, both massive highlights as well, but that championship winning season for me was the best.
And is there a perfect ending
We're
for
at
you?
8 minutes.
And is there a perfect ending for you?
Of course, I look at the next couple of weeks that we've got ahead of us, and there's so much to play for now. We've got the finals to look forward to. We need to make sure we wrap up this second spot. And the perfect ending, of course, would be to go out holding that trophy in my last game, on the grand final. I think it'd be the perfect way to end. And, looking around the league, you've got guys like Cavalieri, Brendan Santalab, Mark Bridge, they're all retiring. So I'm definitely not, looking at this being all about me. Those boys as well have their own, would love for things to end the exact same way. But I guess personally and looking at it a little bit greedily, it'd be great to end my career that way.
Good luck, Brosque. Well done.
Thanks.
So you just one other thing. And is there a career after football? Would you like to stay around the club?
I'm definitely going to stay around the club in some way. I think to walk away completely would be too difficult. Having been here for as long as I have, and even in the 4 years, 3-4 years that I was away in between, I still came back and had constant contact with the boys that were here, and went to watch games and stayed in contact with the club and the people. So Sydney FC will always be a huge part of my life. So to walk away from the football is one thing and hard enough, but to walk away completely is just something that I won't do. I'll stay around in some way. I'll take a bit of a break for now and enjoy retirement for a little bit, but then come back and come and see everyone.
Perfect. Thank you very much.